In a very busy, ever-changing society, we need to learn to take time, to be present, to reflect, and to be our true selves. My wish for all of you that this show gives you this. Welcome to Conversations with Clena. You're very welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Clena. Now, I'm very excited for today's guest. He is so motivated, energetic, the one and only Mr. Gary Doherty. Thank you so much for being here today, Gary.
Thank you for having me, Clena.
Gary, you're one of these people that really are so motivated in everything you go to do, right? You're so inspirational. Where does this motivation come from?
Well, firstly, I wasn't always that way. You know, I think it's more for me. It was when somebody believed in me, even when I didn't, which was in the millennium 2000. And I remember that because that's the date I got married, and I should remember that, of course. And somebody injected the life-saving drug of self-belief into me then, and it was my father-in-law, who's no longer with us, but he was my original mentor. And really and truly, it was that set me off in this relentless crusade of self-development, improvement, being more, being better, striving, this goal-striving mechanism that I am now, and I can't even stop now if I wanted to. My passion comes from really finding my true heart's desire in life, which is to help other people be better versions of themselves. Quite selfishly, I realised some time ago the more I did to help other people, the better I felt.
Okay.
So I figured I'll do more of that, and then I've learned how to monetize that in a business. And I suppose, for not to sound too cliche, Clena, but I'm living my dream now, and that's where my passion comes from, is doing what I truly feel I'm born to do.
Yeah, you really are, and you're helping so many people all over the world as well,
Yeah.
which was great when you got on Zoom. You were fit to cater to every corner of the globe.
Yeah, that's a funny story with Zoom. When the pandemic hit and everybody went online, I very quickly realised that I needed to ramp up my online presence, because I had procrastinated in that area. Everything was physical events, meetups, and all the rest of it. And I did a crash course on Zoom, and very quickly had 5 webinars in the first 10 days.
That's right.
So much so that people were inboxing me as this Zoom guru and wanted me to train them. And I was thinking, I'm only figuring this out on the go too.
I was one of those people.
Yeah. That's true. You remember that?
I was one of those people.
Yeah.
But you were so approachable, you were so friendly and so outgoing. What I really like about you is how passionate you are to help other people, what you just said.
Yeah.
So tell us then, where did Think Network come from?
Think Network came from, I would say, about 3 years ago. I was really embracing LinkedIn. And there's a guy, big shout out to a guy, Gavin Wall. Gavin Wall is a guy in Belfast who was really inspiring me online by his online presence, his message, his energy, massive action. Those are 2 words that stuck with me, and I was following him, and he was rubbing off on me. He was inspiring me to take more action.
Yeah.
And because I was becoming so visible on LinkedIn, particularly at the time, I started to think, wouldn't this be amazing, bringing people together? You know, my network together. And I was thinking more about my network. Yeah. And I thought, wouldn't this be great if other people really thought more about the network that they have and utilised them? And that's where Think and Network came from. And then we held our first event. We brought people from Belfast. It was a free event. 21 people turned up, and it was a failure and a success at the same time. Yeah. A failure as in only 21 people turned up, and a success because 21 people turned up. Yeah. It was beautiful, and it was in Derry, and that was the start.
That was it?
Yeah,
and it's grown into this success that it is. So it's complete credit to you. And tell us now, you are the TEDx curator of Derry, Londonderry, and I remember, Gary, you telling me that this was something that you were going to do, and just even your use of language, you were affirming it, that it was happening even before you'd even looked into it.
Yeah, and I know you get all that, and where that was born from. That whole approach was the whole Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, all the rest of it.
Brilliant book.
Yeah, and which was my first TED Talk, was inspired by What If You Gave Up 3 Feet from Gold. And I was really inspired by that whole being able to be able to see something in your mind, being able to have the courage to even think it to yourself and vocalize it out loud. Because a lot of people, in my humble opinion, and this is my belief, they dream big things, they think big things, and they tell nobody. And for me, they'll always remain a secret.
Yeah.
Because you're not putting them out there. You're not putting them out there to hold yourself accountable, to make the magic happen, to follow your words. You know, where the mind goes, the body follows. And my mind goes from here and comes out here, and I tell the world multiple times what I'm going to do. But then I go and do it.
And then you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do everything it takes, no matter how, no matter what, no matter when. You do it. Yeah. And that's the principle. I follow those basic principles, and yeah, the TED thing's it's a beautiful story.
It really is, and it's going great.
Flying, like beyond my expectations, because, well, let me change that. Not beyond my expectations. I knew that was going to happen, and we're the leading curator in Europe by a country mile. Evidence by the views, the number of talks, the number of events over a pandemic, and so on. So it's not just me saying that. That's statistically we're the standout curator in the whole of Europe, and I'm very proud of that. And it's not me, that's a team. Yeah. You know, that's my wife, it's my daughter, it's all the volunteers, it's the speakers, it's the sponsors, everybody. Yeah. But no, it's beautiful, and we're only scratching the surface.
Well, that's it. But you're all about, you know, collaboration over competition.
Oh God.
That is so important.
Yeah. That was something I don't know if you remember on one of our first calls, when I was talking to one of your groups, and you were talking about there's enough for everybody. Do you remember that? Yes, yes. And you said there's no competition. Gary's in the personal development world, and he has this group and he has that group, and I have my group and I have this. But you know, you didn't see that, and I felt that vibe at the time, and that's why I was drawn to connect with you as well, because for me, competition doesn't exist. You know, I hear it all the time. Northern Ireland's a small place. You don't think you're doing what he does. I don't follow anybody. I don't follow anybody. I'm not a fan of any of these gurus. You know, like the Bob Proctors and all these wonderful people. And they're all amazing people, by the way. Yeah. But I'm not a fan. I don't know. I just think I'm as good as anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, and I take gold from them all. Don't get me wrong. There's teaching.
Bit of inspiration from everybody.
Yeah. But I'm not following any of them.
Yeah, doing your own thing, because then you're living your own truth. Then, yeah. You know. And I suppose one thing that jumped out at me with the Think and Grow Rich book was, in this modern society, all you ever hear is knowledge is power, right? And you and I both know that knowledge is potential power. It is in the application process of this knowledge where the power lies. Yeah. So let's talk a wee bit about that fear, that area of people wanting to try something new, wanting to be a better version of themselves, wanting to step out of the box by just getting rid of the box. Yeah. What tips and wee bit of advice would you give any of our viewers watching here today? For me, in the Think and Grow Rich book, there's some basic principles here about desire, about faith, and so on. And for me, you know, I'm less about the science of the brain. One, because I'm not that knowledgeable on it. That's the first thing. And secondly, I know what worked for me. And what worked for me was really getting in tune with my why, my desire, my purpose, what I wanted, getting clarity, how was I going to do it, who were the people I needed. It was very, very much basic principles that I had to get in tune with. And once I had them locked in, everything else, you know, I was able to make happen and learn from. And for me, you know, like you talk about knowledge is power. It's only power if we use it, and it's only power if we action it. And it's very funny. The last 5 letters of the law of attraction are what? Action. You know, and I think that's very important because there's a lot of people, in my opinion, again, that you know, think that they can dream things into reality, and that only works if you work. You know, so for me, it was getting clarity. Motivation's another word. Motivation's a funny thing. Short-lived.
Motivation for me, it doesn't exist nearly for me. It's almost a negative connotation. I need motivated to be able to do that. No, I need clarity on what it is that I want to do, and then I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes to do it. I don't need motivated. If I need motivated, it'll be a bad day when I need motivation. You know, because I just need clarity. I need to know what I want to do. Then all I have to do is go and do it. Yeah. You know, and the basic principles of desire and faith. Desire and faith. How much do you want it? Why do you want it that much? Be clear. Why? What does it mean to you? What is your why? I did the 7 levels deep exercise with, I was going to say another Cleon O'Hara. And yeah, beautiful person and a big supporter of mine and my wife's. And she unlocked the why in me on a WhatsApp call from the States, one of our first actual verbal calls. And she unlocked my why in me, and I'll be forever grateful for that. And once I was clear on why I was doing it and what it was I wanted to achieve, then everything else was just a project. It was just, milestones I needed to get to reach my goals with the TED, with Think Network, with different events, with speaking events, with becoming a TED speaker, with monetizing my business, with scaling it up. They're all just actionable steps on the journey. But at the very start, it was getting clarity on who I was, what I wanted, why I wanted it. And that's what I would say to people, get really, really clear. I know you're super clear on what you want and why you want it. And that's why you're the success you are. That's why I'm enjoying the success I am. Clarity, get clear, get clear. Don't look for motivation. Don't even look for inspiration. Don't even look to be empowered. Get clear, get clarity. Be crystal clear on what you want. And I think it starts from there. But it did for me.
Yeah,
did for me.
Some golden nuggets there, Gary. And I suppose it's like anything. If you were to go online and purchase a product or a toy or a new item of clothing or whatever it may be, you have to be clear what you want, and you're not going to proceed to checkout until all the correct steps have been taken.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is with the modern society, that we don't know how to do it? Is it because people weren't taught to do it, or didn't witness it growing up, or didn't have that support or knowledge?
That's a good question. I think we're in a new era. I think we're in the knowledge era. We're in the digital era where we have all the knowledge at our fingertips. We have all these inspirational people that have created pathways for us, like all these Dr. Joe Dispenzas and Bob Proctors, Tony Robbins. These guys were real futurists of their time.
They were.
There wasn't a lot of them though, if you look at them. There's not a lot of them. The Jack Canfields of this world and Bob Proctors, look at the age of them. They're very, very mature men. There's not a lot of younger blood, not enough younger people like that coming through, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they've cleared the way for the masses like you and I and other people to go and do our thing and put our spin on it. And I think that's why you're seeing more people do that now. But I also think that this stuff should be in education. This, like for me, do you see self-development and personal development and mindset growth and resilience and confidence building and all those things? For me, they're as important, if not more important, than being able to read, write and count, maths and English, which are seen as your two big subjects that you need. You need these here, or you can't live, you're not going to get a job, you could have them, but if you don't have it up here, if you don't have the mental strength, if you don't have the fortitude, if you don't have the self-awareness, you don't have the tools, you can't use those skills. So I think it needs to be in mainstream education. As opposed to just playing about with it and doing an hour citizenship class at the end of the week, like a lot of the schools do now. This needs to be a GCSE, an A-level, a degree. It needs to be a staple, in my opinion. And I think you will see that in years to come. Yeah,
well, I think it has to be, because with everything going on in the world at the minute, our mental health statistics are on the rise. Yeah. People have struggled through the pandemic. It was, it was nearly almost 2 years of a life that we never thought we would see. And we have to get realistic here. People need help, they need support. Yeah. But firstly, I suppose what I want to talk about now is our imagination, right? And the power of the imagination and how to ignite that inner child and that inner imagination. Because me at school, I find it hard to concentrate. I was always daydreaming everything I've ever achieved in my life, I once daydreamed. Yeah. What would you say to those little children or parents of those little children watching here today? Encourage the dreamer. Ask them what their dreams are. Encourage them to dream. Let them dream all day, then go to sleep at night to dream more. Yeah. And like when I was younger, I was a bit of a dreamer. I would have dreamt at school. I was in my own head. I didn't have the courage to speak out loud and didn't speak publicly for years and all the rest of it. But I was a dreamer, and I knew inside that I had more to give and more to do, but I never really had the courage to say it out loud. And nor was I encouraged to say it out loud, to be truthful. So where did it come from? Where did the courage come from, do you think? Well, it came from my father-in-law. Yeah. It came from my father-in-law. Like, he told me he believed in me. He told me he knew I had what it takes. He told me he knew I would make it in life. And he was right. Yeah. I have, and I am. Yeah. And but he injected that self-belief into me. And that's what I said one of the end of my TED Talks was, who can you
inject that life-saving drug of self-belief into. I don't see enough people, again, in my humble opinion, it's not a statistic, but I would love parents, I'd love it to be the norm, where we're telling people they're good enough. I believe in you, you have what it takes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I do it every day with my own children now.
Yeah.
I have a 20-year-old son, and I tell him every day how amazing he is. He's one of the youngest managers in Lidl in Ireland. He's flourishing. You know, he's off like a steam train in his own life. And that's not down to me, but it's down to him. But he's hearing these things daily. He feels 10 feet tall. He's away achieving his own dreams and to be much more successful than I'll ever be. And for me, that's beautiful.
That is.
And I think I just would love to see that as like a staple in society.
Yeah.
You know, just the norm. Because we're in a new era, it's a new time.
Yeah.
It's a new time, and we owe it to our children to pass this on to them.
We do.
We do. It's our responsibility to do that.
It is. And you know what? And I think this is why I'm so passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said at the start there, and we were talking about competition over collaboration. If we constantly have this theory of competition, I can't do that because Gary's doing it, Gary can't do it because Clint is doing it. Do you not see then what can happen in society? And our kids are growing up in this society. So if we want a happier, healthier society, we have to work together. We have to learn to work together. And that has been part of the ethos of Northern Ireland in the past 20 years, is learn to accept each other, learn to work together. And with the acceptance part, you know, it's learning to accept each other's flaws. We're not all going to think the same, be the same, react the same, but to know that people are a certain way because of possibly their upbringing, because of their environmental factors, traumas they endured. There's so many reasons.
For sure, I think it would be amiss not to think that, or not even to think that over a period of time in Northern Ireland we maybe have been oppressed mentally, you know, by, you know, we can't do this or we can't do that because we've been so, you know, the obvious. But that, again, that we're in a new era, it's changed, you know, and talking about competition, if you even go and look at I think it's my Twitter account right now in my bio, and it'll always be that, is, you know, you can never be in competition with me. I want you to win too. You know what I mean? Nobody can ever be in competition with me. I'll not let that happen. I want you to win. Yeah. If I could bring you more clients today, I would. I'm happy for you to succeed. You know, and see that attitude. That's why I'm receiving abundance in my life, because I genuinely want people to win, no matter who you are. Even if we don't get on, I'm still happy for you to do well. Like, good luck. I'm focused on my life. If you and I don't get on, or you don't like me, or you rub me up the wrong way, we don't have to be in each other's lives. I still wish you well.
Yeah. And that's a great attitude to have.
You know, genuinely, I'm like that. I'm genuinely like that, no matter what trials and tribulations. And in my world, people do come and go in your life. They do come and go from groups and from, you know, they get what they want, they move on and all the rest of it, and that's fine, as long as you know that. You know, but I'm very open-minded as well. I wish everybody well. I'm not by any means perfect. I'm close, but
yeah. Well, what does perfect mean? What does perfect mean?
But no, I genuinely wish other people well, and sure, listen, we can all win together. It's all good.
That's very evident, because in one of your bios on Instagram, I think it is, it's opportunity creator. And I'd be thinking, you know, an opportunity creator, not just for yourself, but for everybody, because you have helped me in so many ways.
Likewise.
And I've poured that onto other people, so it's always going to have a spiral knock-on effect. But for anybody watching here today, and they are only hearing this type of material for the first time, so a personal development journey has to be done very gently and slowly, because it is deep. It's opening a can of worms. What would you suggest would be the first thing that they would possibly read or watch or look into?
There's 2 or 3 things I would say that help me to go gently on it. The first thing is, online there's loads of free material, there's loads of free groups actually. There's loads of resources available to you. Firstly, be around like-minded people. Be around like-minded people. I'm very, very strategic about who I even meet for a coffee now. Like, if you're a vibe killer, or if you're just somebody that wants to just, negativity is the norm for you.
Or an energy vampire.
Yeah. You might be a good person, but you ain't for me. And like, I'm going to sound ruthless here, but I even mean that with family. I don't mean my immediate family. I mean with certain people that you would expect that you have to be close to. If you're ruining my vibe, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, I just keep you here. I'll see you, but I just won't see you as much. I'll talk to you, but I won't talk to you at length. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. Make sure the people in your life are adding value to your life. And if they are, you'll be adding value to theirs as well, otherwise they wouldn't be in it. So be around like-minded people, either online and offline, both. Reading the right material. Think and Grow Rich was a game changer for me, and I know it's so cliche, but it is. Yeah, I've read that book 9 times, and I have it in audio, and I listen to it in bed most nights. Yeah. You know, and it's been a game changer for me. Like genuinely, I check my own language now. If I talk about could or should or might, I change it. Yeah. No, I will. I will. You know, I'm more definite in my intentions. And that's all locked in my head now, in my subconscious, and that's why I act accordingly. Guess what? That's why you have the results accordingly, because you're vibrating at a certain level. So read the right material. Think and Grow Rich is a beautiful book to start with. It's palatable, it's easy to take in. The Secret, the greatest secret I know you're a big fan of, and so am I. The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Them sorts of books, they give you the basic principles on how to think. You know, the Don Miguel Ruiz, the 4 Agreements, don't take anything personally. You know, be impeccable with your word, you know, being your best. You know, those sorts of things, they're all, don't make assumptions. They're all very, very important basic principles for successful living, in my opinion. Yeah. And it's very easy to read, it's palatable, it's sort of quite high level. And then if you wanted to go into your deeper stuff, like the
spirituality.
Yeah. And the whole TED and Think Network, all the talks that we do, that you've delivered talks on our platform as well. So listen to the right stuff, read the right material, and most importantly, be around the right people.
Yeah, and apply it.
And apply it, of course.
Because sitting daydreaming about winning the lottery and not buying a lotto ticket.
No.
You know.
No, that's it. That's it. I tell you what. Be the lottery.
Yeah.
Be the lottery. Yeah. You know, I'm my lottery, and I'm not wishing, hoping, gambling for anything. I'm coming for everything and it all. You know what? Because I deserve it, and my family deserve it. You deserve it. Anybody listening to this deserves it. Yeah. Think like that. Yeah. That's very important. You know, I believe. Do you know what? A lot of people don't feel deserving of big success. And you see, if you don't feel deserving of it, it's a repellent. You're pushing it away. You're pushing it away. Feel expectant. Feel deserving. Feel that you're good enough. You were born to experience abundance in your life. I wasn't born to have a hard life. I was born to have everything. And I do. And it's beautiful. Yeah. You know, and that's why it keeps coming to me. Because I'm willing it to me. Yeah. I have my arms open. You know, we love. I'm working hard and giving everything I can to the people that deserve it and the right people. And I experienced so much abundance in my life. Yeah. And it wasn't always that way. Yeah. That's how I know thinking and behaving like this and using all those resources and acting accordingly, it works. Yeah. You know, I'm proof of it, 100%, as are you.
You're definitely proof of it.
As are you.
And it is, I suppose, one of them things, that amazing quote, and I remember hearing it in 2007, 2008 is when my real deep personal development journey began with reading The Secret, was thoughts become things. And when you really get your mind open to what way are you thinking, like if you were to do a good brain dump and you dump out your thoughts, you can visually see what you're thinking. Yeah. So it gives a completely different perspective, right? And that gives a lot of people hope, because now they're seeing what they're thinking and they don't want to think this anymore. Yeah. Because that's why they're attracting what they're getting in their life. Yeah. Where did it originate from? And it is a hard pill to swallow for people to hear that. Yeah. It really, really is.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's funny you talk about brain dump and what you think can become things. In my office at home, you might have seen this before, but I'll share a picture of this online if anybody looks. In my office at home, my brain is on the walls in that room. I am a very visual person, so I've got maybe 5 whiteboards in the room, like massive ones. And I'll have affirmations on it here, I'll have visions on it there, I'll have the house that I'm buying there, the car that I'm going to do, and I've done it all already. And I'll have all the TED goals, and I'll have the Think Network goals, and I'll have the upscaling in my business, and all these things. And I have that in one wall in my house. Then I have whiteboards here with all the affirmations, and then I have one over here with all the projects I've gone on. And I have my brain on the wall. And every day, I'm sitting like a scientist in the room. That sounds so nerdy, but anyway. And I'm sitting there, and I could see me having coffee after coffee, and I'm just looking around the wall like that. And it's like being on social media and scrolling. I'm scrolling around the wall, and then I'll write that, yes, and I need to do that, and I need to do that, and I'm making all that happen all the time. And I'm just sitting there. It's like I'm sitting in this dark room all the time, looking at that there. And so, you know, a lot of people just see social media and they just see results.
Yeah.
But what they don't see is...
We want to talk about this now. We want to talk about social media.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about social media because, you know, we're seeing it in the news, we're reading it in the papers, we're listening to the stories of the impact social media is having on our young people, right? What advice would you give parents with young children or teenagers or even just adults themselves? Because I do know quite a lot of adults who had to completely log out of social media. They couldn't cope with that comparison all the time. They were always comparing their lives to social media.
I'll tell you what, I'll go with that there. I'll go right to the jugular with that there, right? I'm going to say what a lot of people won't say publicly, right? Social media. Ruin my vibe in social media. You're getting blocked, you're getting muted, not blocked, but you're getting muted or you're getting hidden or whatever the button is.
Yeah.
If you're infiltrating my vibe like in such a way where you're talking about stuff that I don't want to talk about, or you're honestly, I just I don't see it. I don't see it. Be focused. Be intentional about why you're on social media. Different for young people when they're on just social networking all the time. Yeah. I'm on it personally for my brand, personal brand. Sounds so egotistical, but I don't mean it like that. I just mean that's part of my business. And I'm on it strategically. Do you know what I mean? I'm on it really strategically with a definiteness of purpose. Every message is aligned to a strategy, an objective, and a goal. Everything. So for young people, just be yourself. Have the courage to be yourself. Do you see? I actually think social media should be a lot better policed as well. See this trolling that's on social media. I've had a bit of it myself. That I'll not even tell the story to give the person airtime, but I've had a bit of trolling myself on social media, and it's not very nice, and it affected me badly. I was actually going to come off social media not that long ago over the heads of it. So.
And there you go, something so strong.
Yeah, genuinely.
And it just shows you, doesn't
genuinely,
it, that it can have.
Yeah.
And I think what you have to be so mindful of is that what you see may not actually be the reality, because I know I'm guilty. My portrayal of it is how I would love to see things and be things, and I'm only going to show what I want people to show. And my grid on Instagram is the only place my children can't scribble over. They can't touch it. So I like to have it perfect, and that's just but that's not Cliona's real life. No. Cliona's real life is stuck in the kitchen nearly all day.
Bumps in the road and children go mad and
and I think people need to realise that when they're on social media, that you're only seeing what somebody wants you to see. Yeah. So it's like relationships, it's like work, it's like your finances, it's like every area in your life. You only will show what you want people to see.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big social media advocate because I see the power of good in it, and getting your message out, connecting with people, and all the rest of it. But do you see that side of it there? I would say this to people as well. You know, what you're trying to portray on social media, make sure you're either that offline or even better. Okay. You know, people are on social media and they're quick to, you know, there's trolls, but then there's the opposite end as well, where they're like OTT friendly and OTT kind, let's say. Just make sure you're like that in person. Yeah. You know, I am the way I am all the time. All the time.
Don't change.
Never, ever, ever. And I suppose that goes back to having the courage to be yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, I hate nothing more than seeing people not be themselves on social media. If you know them personally and you're thinking, God, your life ain't like that, or I know you're not like that. That saddens me, actually. That saddens me.
Just be yourself, be your true self, and bring that to the world.
Just be yourself and be laser focused.
And you'll not be everybody's cup of tea. No, we all know that. No. Look, Gary, I'm so excited to see where you are going to go, because you know you have grown to this level around the world. Gary Doherty, thank you so much for coming on to today's episode. It is an honour. Your energy is so contagious. I'm sure you've felt it too, folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for tuning in. Many thanks to Gary, our sponsors, and our production team here today. We'll see you next time on Conversations with Cliona.